and I highly recommend it. And there's times where you are going to be able to take a really big step. You're going to be able to do something big, and that's okay. But for the most part, I mean, really, it is little steps,
Yeah.
and they add up quickly, as you were saying. That's
Yeah, and I
crazy.
would suggest focusing on, like what you said is really important, because one, you want to find out what works for you, which takes experimenting. Just try
Right.
things out,
Yes.
and there's so many
Yes.
methods out there of how you can work, how you can approach it, stuff like that. So
Hmm.
just experiment with that. And also, what I would say with the baby steps in general is, and this is something that I always say, is like, make them so small that it feels ridiculous not to be able to do it, especially when you start.
I love that. Say that again.
Make them so small that it feels ridiculous not to be able to do it. So like, even if 45 minutes seems a lot, start with 5. Like, you
Yeah.
probably can find 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um and
Yeah.
and then you're gonna do it daily, and it doesn't mean that you stop at 5 minutes. Down the line you can add more, and by the end of the year you might even be able to do 3 hours, and it's nothing. But it all starts with, because I caught myself recently with, I'm like, oh, I want to work on this and this and this. I caught myself doing what I'm trying to avoid doing, or what I tell
Yeah.
others not to do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have, I will keep it simple. I will have 3 things, and I will have baby steps in this, and there's like 5 baby steps in this. And then there's like, and those baby steps were slightly too big for them to be baby steps. And then like with this area, I'm gonna have like another like 5, 6 baby steps. And like with this area, this is like the biggest area that I want to focus on. So I'm gonna add like 7 baby steps, but they can be like a bit time consuming. So yeah, that's my plan. And then I started
God.
to do it, and I'm like, yeah, too much too soon. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that few months down the line I actually could easily handle that, but that's because of the momentum. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this one I'm gonna cut off where there's only 2 baby steps that are like really, really small. They don't take more than like 10 minutes. This one, that's like the personal. I was like, okay, instead of having like 8, I'm gonna have 5, and all of them take no more than 30 minutes a day. Um, and then this big one, I'm gonna keep it as it is because that's the main focus. And
Mm.
then it's much easier to stick to them and do them, because I know that I'm still gonna touch on the areas that I want to touch on, but because the other areas are in maintenance mode, I just need to put enough to just keep doing stuff, keep having momentum, but it's not me accelerating yet. I can add stuff down the line when I have more
Hmm.
um, endurance or ability to tolerate more, um, or I'm more in the rhythm. But right now, because I'm coming back from all these like setbacks, which is another important point, you can't start off the same as you finished before
No.
you got the setback. You need to ease into it and be okay
Hmm.
with it. It might take, it actually usually takes less time with consistency than we think it's gonna take. We just start too quick too soon, and that's what is
Yeah.
making us fall off the track, like I did. Um,
Hmm.
Learning from my own mistakes. I don't know which time already. And I'm like, okay, I need to simplify this whole thing. And now that I did, I instantly feel in my head no overwhelm, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
hitting all the boxes, but I don't feel like, oh, I still have this many to do. Um, and all of them are hit. It's just like it's not as much as I initially wanted to, because as I started to do it, which a lot of times the only way you can know if it's too much is as you do it. I was able to see like, yeah, it's too much. I need to adjust, and I adjusted, and now I'm like much better.
Rather than saying, "Oh, it's too much. I can't do this," and give up, you just went, "Oh, I didn't plan this out real well."
Yeah,
Because like you're right. You're not going to know until you step out. Sometimes you're not going to realize how things always take longer than
yeah,
you really plan.